Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the REI Network podcast with me, Gavin Timms. Today on this podcast or YouTube, depending on where you're watching, I have two of my clients that are going to be joining me. We're going to be doing a kind of a coaching call, seeing where they're at, and diving into kind of their business a little bit. So excited! They agreed that we could put this on just to get a feel for kind of what we do in our program in general. So it was a good example. So let me bring them over. Here they are, Fred and Lateresa. How are you guys doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Great.
Good morning. Hey, I appreciate you. I do these pop-up coaching calls, and I know you guys are like, hey, we'll do a podcast. So kind of here we are. So I appreciate you both, for doing that. And we've been working together. I want to say 6 months. I'm throwing that out there. I don't actually know how long is it. Has it been that long?
Not quite.
Probably not
Almost.
quite 4 or 5 months. Yeah. But yeah, you guys are always on the calls, and we're going to be talking about the program as we go through this. So I appreciate you, being there consistently and pushing forward. But give us a little bit of background on you guys. Like, where are you living? What did you do? What is your backgrounds in kind of life? And why did you choose to get into real estate?
Well, we're in Spring, Texas. We just moved here from Virginia. Um, I just recently retired as an industrial electrician, and Lateresa's retired from her business. It kind of got shut down during COVID. So we've been dabbling in this for a while. I'm not really going in full-heartedly, but now we're pushing forward and making this an effort to make this succeed. So that's where we're at right
No, absolutely. I think the big thing is when we spoke, because you've been in other programs before, right? And one big thing was me is that I'm not I actually got on the phone and spoke with you guys, and I remember it well. That you can't keep hopping coach to coach, right? You can't keep buying course to course. And I was super clear that we have to get results in what we're doing. And that goes for everyone watching, right? People keep looking for the gold that's not there, right? You just have to get down and do the work, and be held accountable to doing that, and getting over the roadblocks to get results. Now, obviously you guys come on, you were moving to a different area. You left Virginia, you moved to Texas in the middle of this over the last few months. You've also went into a virtual market, which we'll talk about. So there's been a lot happening, a lot of chaos. And the thing is that you're not the only ones, right? This happens to a lot of people. A lot of people watching this recording right now are going to be in the same situation. And it's obviously called life, right? Life gets in the way. When you come up with a plan that you get excited about, and I see this like when I work with people and we come up with a game plan, everyone's excited and we're ready to educate. Always things come up that you don't expect, because you don't normally, you just get on with it, right? Life continues, you deal with family problems, you deal with these things, but what you don't see is that how that derails from the business, and how you have to kind of make moves to be able to still move forward and potentially get deals, right? And one of the big shifts that we did with you guys was you started using direct mail, right?
now.
It was one of the things that we did. And obviously what happens is the calls, you had a really good response rate from the direct mail. You guys did the trifold, right? The trifold, is that what you did first?
The big letter.
Big letter.
The big letter. Yep. So with a direct mail coach, Ryan, who I just actually interviewed recently, and you started sending that, and guess what? The phone starts ringing, right? It actually works. Now we have to look at, okay, we have marketing coming in. One thing I've always managed to do is get leads coming in for every client. It's not, I don't feel it's hard, but then it's now this is where the process kicks in to be able to actually lock the deal up and close. So, with you guys, you were going through a lot at the time, again, moving houses and being virtual. And we kind of knew that going in. But I think you probably thought, and I want you to speak on this, that you thought the transition was probably going to be easier than probably what it ended up being. Would that be fair? In terms of the move?
Yeah, the move was a lot. That took a lot to pack, and when you're moving to another state.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, it took long. Well, not so much packing, but unpacking and getting settled here.
Yeah.
Took a lot longer than we anticipated, I think.
Faded. Yeah. And that's the thing, though. That's the thing you can't. I've moved a lot, right? We used to travel every 13 weeks. So packing and unpacking every 13 weeks, I understand the chaos, right? And what goes in, and you think, oh, it's not that bad. We just get there, and within a day or two, we'll be ready and set, and it just doesn't work like that. So what kind of happened was, as I was listening, and you know, join our coaching calls, that the problem that I'm seeing is, hold on a minute, you spent money, we have direct mail coming in, they're sitting there too long, right? You know that as soon as that call comes in, you have to be answering it live or calling back immediately. And the problem was that things are just sitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's not a dig at YouTube, but you know, to get results, and a motivated seller is just going to call the next postcard or the next share letter, right? And they're going to go through until someone picks up the phone. Just like when we're looking for a realtor. If I'm trying to list my house, I'm not just going to call one. I'm just going to keep dialing until someone picks up, and whoever answers the phone wins. And obviously, I know this from a numbers standpoint. So that's kind of where we changed and tweaked. So we brought in one of my partners, Dustin, who you know well, to actually help and take some of them calls for you to kind of get through that bind for that period of time, right? Do you feel that, and again, I want to hear from you, I've not actually asked this, but do you feel that helped a lot?
Yeah.
How was that process?
Yeah, good.
It was just a relief, I think, off of us to know that our marketing efforts are being worked on. You know, even though we couldn't even go in and do it ourselves, and the communication with Dustin was very well, and it was almost like a partner in a sense, which really helped us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the goal for, you know, everyone that I work with. It's like trying to remove every roadblock to get a result. And obviously I looked at your situation and said, look, they're moving. This is life. Like, you can't not move, right? You can't not unpack, you know? When I looked at that and thought, okay, this is the best solution that I could bring on a short-term basis to be able to come in, get someone to work them leads for you to see if we can actually get a deal. Now, we have got, as it stands and as we're recording this, we have got a couple of sellers that are right on the verge of going, and one, if it does go, we're looking at a decent size fee, and they're not in yet. So again, nothing's in until it's closed. But we do have a couple in the pipeline that are looking really good. So hopefully we get them, you know. Yeah. So how's it going then? So we have Dustin again working on some stuff with you in terms of trying to get some stuff closed to get your deal over the line. So where's everything else at right now? Like what's going well, and what do you need help with right now, would you say?
Well, we're basically trying to get our texting efforts out there to start calling on the ones that did not respond to the mailer. And again, life kind of takes toll, so we're still trying to do that and still hiring a VA to do that for us. So that's kind of where we stand of going forward.
Where you're at.
I will say that the partnering with Dustin on that first deal was good, because it turned out that it needed to be a creative financing type deal. It wasn't just a straight wholesale deal. So that was definitely an area that we really didn't have any expertise in. So it really helped out having somebody who knew, you know, the way to communicate the different plans of attack to the potential, you know, seller.
No, absolutely. Yeah, because what happens is that my job's to keep you focused, right? Number one is I need to stay focused. Now, obviously you come in and everyone wants to do everything. Why wouldn't they? Everyone wants to know how to do a wholesale. They want to know how to do a wholesale, a flip, a lease option, an owner finance, a sub two, right? Oh, we could do this and that. But the reality is that you need to have that knowledge to be able to negotiate that, right? And if you're not careful, when something is brand new to you, you start mixing a bit of lease option with a bit of sub two, with a bit of owner finance in there, and all of a sudden then you start mixing things up, and it gets super confusing. So I think, you know, as you know, on our calls, it's trying to stay in your lane and master one thing, and then we can work on to the next. Because yes, you look at it as it's a lost opportunity because you're not making multiple offers. But if you don't understand how to position them offers, you're not going to get them anyway. So you're better off, again, bringing someone in. And that's why Dustin's, you know, huge for my business, and obviously is on the team with me, because now we're actually working them deals with clients to go, right, if you get them to where you can't do a cash deal and then it's a terms deal, we'll come in and actually negotiate it for you or with you to see if we can get a deal. And again, it's huge, because now it works for us because we can do a deal, right? It works for you because you can do a deal. Everyone's making money. The seller wins because we're solving the problem. So again, it's another win-win. And we want to offer things that no one else does, right? And I don't think anyone else is going to, when you're in the coaching programs, as far as I know, they're just going, well, sucks, just, you know, get to your leads when you can. But again, that doesn't solve and get a deal, right? That's just a lazy answer and a common sense one. But it's, what are we going to do? And everyone needs a backup plan. If you're not going to work them leads, because again, life, whatever that is, right? And you could say, well, there's 24 hours in a day. There's always time. There's arguments all over the place on can you get to leads or can't. But the reality is, if it's not happening, we have to pivot and change to be able to make sure that we, you know, that we do. So with you guys, you sent direct mail, and then what we chose to do was anyone who didn't respond through direct mail, we were going to then contact through text message or calling, right? And this is kind of a step, you know, like a tiered marketing strategy where it will save you money because it's more calculated. It's not more spray and pray, right? Like we know with cold calling and texting, obviously you need bigger numbers, normally skip trace to do more volume. But with a direct mail, let's say that you sent out 1,000, let's say you got 50 people respond, and then you have basically 950 people that you need to go after through text, through skip tracing, through text, and through call. So you could text anyone who didn't respond, you then call, and again, you will save money because you're not doing everything all at once, right? So that's what you're doing. And on that, we talk then about how many you're going to send per day, right? Are you using FreedomSoft to text or using batch?
We're using FreedomSoft, so 100 texts is the max that we can send out on that.
Yeah, which is important, right? So when we had that discussion, how many texts are you going to send? Because people say to me all the time, one of the most common questions that, and people listening are going to understand this, is how many texts should I send? And you have to work it backwards. How many leads do you want, right? And then you send the amount of texts to get them amount of leads. So if you want 5 leads or 3 leads, you're going to keep sending text messages until you get 3 or 5 positive responses. That could be 20, that could be 100. And you don't know until you start. And what I suggest that everyone does, and I've told you this, is do 20 at a time, right? 20, deal with them responses, then do 20 more. The reason being is that in a text message, if someone's willing to engage with you, now is the time to go back and forth because they're on their phone and they're ready to go. What the problem is sometimes with VAs texting, again, is they text, and then it sits there for 6 hours ready for you to make the call, right? So you need to be thinking about that when you hire a VA to do the texting. So what I suggest that you do, if that's the case, if you do hire a VA to text, is get the VA to try and work at the same time as you wanting to make the calls. Okay. So while the VA is doing the texting, they then shoot over to you and say, hey, this one, call them. And then you can pick up that lead immediately. You can look at the text exchange and then you can lead into the conversation, right? And also the VA can be acting as you the whole time.
Right.
Okay.
So you don't have to say, hey, Billy was just texting you. You can do it like it was you, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you just pick up going, hey, we were just texting, and then you move that conversation on. But that just takes some coordination with you and the VA. Just
Okay.
something for you guys to think about.
Yeah, very good.
Because what happens is if we don't do that, is they'll bring leads in through text, and then you're chasing them all day trying to get them on the phone.
Right.
So
Right.
you'll sit down for 2 hours to make your calls, or an hour, or whatever, and then you call and no one answers the phone. Now what?
Mhm.
Now they text again tomorrow, and you've got double the amount of leads now that you're chasing. So you have to, try and coordinate that to try and get them on the phone as best you can. And one way to get around that is get the VA text at the same time you're ready to call.
Okay.
All
Very
right.
good. Mhm.
Awesome. So what else have we got going on? Is there anything else that you guys need help with?
No, not at the moment. I will say that being on the coaching calls, I know Fred will agree with me, is that it's been really helpful to hear in the group what everybody is doing, the strategies, um, and also the encouragement and the motivation that you bring, to the coaching calls. That is something I feel like we have needed all along. And even though you get just a little bit here and a little bit there, it's power packed with you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're going every day now. Obviously, we're doing calls every day. Actually, after this, we're going live in 35 minutes as we're recording this. And I appreciate the feedback. We've been doing this for probably 3 or 4 months now at this intensity, but it's been a game changer for me in terms of results and helping people. Because I didn't realize before that, doing one call a week is just not enough in this business to get results. It just isn't. I didn't realize. I thought it was good for many years, but then there's something to be said when we go every day. Because when I thought about doing this every day, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I mean, is there anything left to talk about? But when you actually do it, everyone's got a different situation. Everyone's got a different seller. Everyone's got a different deal. Everyone's got a different objection. Everyone's winning or losing, right? And there's so many things to talk about in your wins and your struggles. But it's good because in this feedback of the way that we position these calls, where everyone's got the video on if they want, everyone can interact. So there's no hiding. There's no, is anyone really doing deals, right? When someone says I'm doing 4 or 5 a month, I have 50, 60K in closing, or someone's just had $100,000 a month, or someone's just bought their 60th rental. It gives you an open mind to going, wow, like we can do this. And that's just not coming from me. And then that I'm always giving you my challenges and struggles of what I'm seeing in my business, because it isn't all rosy. I wish it was. And I think of a lot of influencers out there, and I talk about this on the coaching call, that there's a lot of nonsense out there and it's not real. Like, it's not reality. Yeah, we can, I mean, we're working on a deal, and I've talked about this, for $20,000 if we get it. We've had this thing for nearly 6 months under contract, trying to tidy up the liens. There's been over 60 hours on the phone with the IRS for our closing coordinator, trying to tidy up a lien with the IRS. There's just things in it that you don't see, right? Now, if I could rewind and knew all of this, I would never have done the deal. I would have just said, forget the 20, because the time that's gone in, we could have made more money. But once you get so far down the road, when do you pull? Now it feels like if I should have pulled 3 months ago, because I didn't think we'd be still here. And maybe I should pull now because I could be here in 9 months. I don't know. But because you're so deep in, you've got to win. But the difference is that I could come online and go, oh, yeah, we just did a $20,000 check. Awesome. Congrats. But no one knows the backstory of what went in. And that's what I try and change from the rehabs we're doing. Yeah, we made 40 grand on a rehab, but it was a disaster. And here's why. We should have made this. This is what went wrong. And they're the lessons that you can't, they're the real learning things, right? When everything goes well, anyone can do real estate. If you have a mailer, someone says, please buy this house and I'll sell it for 30 cents on the dollar. Well, anyone can make money doing that. But when that doesn't happen, then what are you going to do? And that's where you have to get creative and learn these different techniques and things like that. So I appreciate that. And, I appreciate you guys getting on, because you guys are consistently on there. and it's good for accountability as well, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I like that, because everybody's got different situations they're coming against. And I like the fact that you and them help work through these obstacles and what they need to do to get around them and to solve their problems and whatnot. Like you just said, everybody, other programs or whatever, they tell you, yeah, we made $40,000 on this deal, but they don't tell you that they spent 6 months doing it and they had to,
Yeah.
go back and redo it or whatever, or bring in other people and to get it to happen. They just give you a rosy outcome.
Yeah.
And, so when you run into that situation, you're thinking, well, they did it, but then you don't, why am I having all these troubles? And the reality is they had the same troubles. They just didn't let you know about it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate your transparency and the struggles and stuff you come across as well, that, you're not the real estate guru that, has no issues and everything goes like planned.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wish it was. I wish it didn't, and it was smooth. And I'm telling you now, I tell everyone, enjoy the wins when it's simple, because you'll have them. You'll have them when they lie over deals, and you just pray and go, why can't every deal just be like this? Like, you just made 15 grand. It was one phone call. Everything went through. The buyer paid. It was just seamless, fast, 3-week closing, and it was just a breeze. And they come one in, I don't know how many, but they come. So enjoy them ones, because they will happen. But you're also going to have the rough ones as well, and
Right.
but that's the business we're in, and that's why we have the potential to make the money that we make,
Right.
the potential, the money that we can make, when we talk about 100,000 a year, 2, 3, 4, 1 million, 1.5, how much do you want to grow to? And understanding as well, above all this, is backing it off, as I talk a lot about, of what you guys want. And when anyone's listening, what is it that you want? It doesn't mean, I just interviewed a good friend of mine in North Dakota he's a realtor, he's a broker, he's done 1,000 homes this year. But his outgoing is like 230,000 a month. He has 47 people on staff. That's not for me, right? Personally, because it stresses me out. I don't want 200,000. I don't need to do 35 deals a month to break even before I make any money. Like, that to me is insane. But again, you can run a business like that if you have that vision. And that's the key, is that everyone's running at different levels because it's what they want. It's trying to get your happy medium. How much money do you need? How many deals do you want to do? And backing it off again, maybe one deal a month at net 5 grand. If you could make 5 grand a month and you're doing one deal a month, maybe that would change everything for you. Maybe you want 5 a month, right? You want 10 a month. My sweet spot, if I can get to about 1.5 million for me a year, that's what I want, right? I feel that I could do it with a team that I have, but anything beyond that, I've got to go to levels that I don't want to go. So between that 1 and 1.5, if I could get in there consistently every year, I know I'd be good at that. But to go then to 3, I just can't. I can't do it on the way that I'm set up without then going into 8 markets and over leveraging and having more people and stuff. So having that vision and staying dedicated and disciplined to that is important, because it's very easy to get on that shiny object, even for me. I mean, I know some of the best in the business, but I wouldn't swap my business for it,
Right.
for what they have. So you have to put everything into perspective for what you want.
Right. Yeah.
So awesome. Well, look, I appreciate you guys. Anything else you want to talk about, cover while we're on?
No, I mean, I just wanted to tell you also that in today's market, when sellers are holding out for top dollar, because that's where the market is right now, that it's nice to be a coach with you, a mentor with you, because it helps us see that we're not the only ones in the same boat. When you're, they were holding out, they're holding out, and then you bring that level of motivation and encouragement to say, it's okay that they're holding out, but we can always, you're looking at analyzing deals as well, which really helps, you know, it helps us.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate that. And everything's timing. You cannot turn a non-motivated seller into motivated. You can't
Right.
do it unless you're going to overpay, which you wouldn't do, right? You can
Right.
only motivate me to send me this house, my house right now that I'm sitting in, if you pay me double for it. Then you'll have me motivated. I'll close within 30 days, no problem. But if you're not going to pay me double, I'm not moving. So I'm not motivated, right? And there's nothing that you can say and do that you're going to turn or persuade me any otherwise. Now, everything is timing. And that's the point of making your offer and following up, because guess what? What if what they're telling you doesn't happen, right?
Right.
Or what if you can be able to position and say, well, look, we can't do it that, but what if we did it over some time of term and we could get you to that amount? What would you think about that? And then take them down a terms route. Take them to, if we pay them rent for X amount of time, or take it over in a finance so they save on their taxes, whatever, and see if anything comes. And if it doesn't, make your offer, follow back up and see if anything's changed. And if you do enough of it, you win,
Right.
you just do. And so I appreciate that. And Dustin, again, he does one of the calls. He does a great job, and we've even started working deals with clients, which is great. And I know that we've got a couple real close. Again, I don't like to talk too much about it, but hopefully they come over the line and they should be pretty good deals. And you're doing business right now in Charlotte County, Florida.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, and you're building now a little army there in terms of your buyers and your networking there. So, guys, if I just want to throw this out for everyone listening, if you are in that market, you get any deals around that market, make sure you send it over to Fred and Lateresa. Here is their email. Creative Home Financing Solutions at gmail.com. Creative Home Financing Solutions at gmail.com. Send them an email and connect with them. If you have a deal, they'll be happy to kind of help you. Again, they're working on that foundation in that market, and we've got some good things in the pipeline, which is great. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on and doing this. I think it helps people. It's real. They see what situations people are in and kind of what we're doing in the program. So thank you. Before we get done, any last things? We're good?
No.
We're good. Awesome.
Yep. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you both. And hey, guys, if you're interested in joining our group, you want to go to reinetwork.com/join. We are, growing. We're all about working with the right people. We feel it's very affordable for what we deliver. No one else delivers as much as we do. And we're getting fantastic results. So if you're interested, go to reinetwork.com/join. Let's get on the phone, have a conversation. Fred and Lateresa, I will see you here in probably 20 minutes live, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one. Thanks.